Down by 10 going into halftime, no problem because the Sun Devils scored 28 points in the second half to top the Wildcats and own the Territorial Cup with a final score of 42-30. Here at Sun Devil Stadium, welcome into HouseOfSparky.com. I'm Troy Lynch alongside Matthew Tonis and Omar Soussi. Guys, this was a crazy game because coming out of the back, Khalil Tate, he was doing some Khalil Tate things, almost scoring on every single drive in the first half. Then all of a sudden, he doesn't even play in the second half. I mean, there was a couple drives, but, I mean, it was Brandon Dawkins who came in.
Yeah, it looked like he got hurt on that last throw down to the end zone at the end of the first half. Little weird clock management that led up to that play, but it was obvious when he was out there in the second half, he was not the same guy. And Brandon Dawkins there was a reason Khalil Tate is the starter and Brandon Dawkins is the backup. So once ASU got that momentum, the muffed snap on the punt that got blocked, and then they score, and then ASU kind of piles on, and at that point, U of A just wasn't going to stop the train.
Yeah, it's interesting because in last year's Territorial Cup, it was Brandon Dawkins who was the starting quarterback, and he ran all over this ASU team. He did score a touchdown, but still 21 points in the third quarter for the Sun Devils. What did they change coming out of halftime?
Well, a lot of it has to come over with those turnovers. They were just able to get short field, get nice runs in the middle. U of A wasn't going to be able to stop that, and on offense, they weren't able to do anything. The pressure was just building and building, and once Khalil Tate wasn't on the field, they really weren't afraid of the running game as much as they were in the first half, so that really forced them to just blitz the passer and force Brandon Dawkins to beat them, which he wasn't going to do right now.
Yeah, you mentioned that they weren't afraid against the U of A running game, and something else that they weren't afraid of doing was passing the ball, especially to their main guy, N'Keal Harry, who ended up with like around 48 yards on the night, but he had 2 touchdowns that came up in pretty clutch decisions. And in the press conference, Coach Graham mentioned that this is probably the clutchest team that he's ever had. I feel like N'Keal Harry is a big part of that.
Yeah, he's just an animal on the outside. Any ball that's they've talked about it all year. A 50-50 ball for everyone else is 75-25 at least for N'Keal Harry. Manny Wilkins likes to call it a 100-0 ball. N'Keal Harry is going to at least make a play on the ball. He may not come down with it, but he's going to give you a chance. And he came up, especially with that last touchdown, barely getting in, but N'Keal Harry's that good of a receiver that if you're going to throw it up to him, he's gonna make you look good.
2 touchdowns on the night for N'Keal Harry, 3 for Manny Wilkins in the air. But another just difference maker for the game was Demario Richard, which was an emotional post game for him. Just a lot of tears, a lot of hugs. But Demario Richard ends the night with 165 yards on the ground. What do you have to say about him?
He looked like the old Demario Richards. It was just building up to this season from him dealing with injuries, and now he was healthy today, and he was just running as hard as he can. It was just great running from him. The offensive line gave him a lot of good holes and just kept pounding and pounding and pounding. That last run to basically ice the game was the best run I've seen of him this season.
Yeah, and Demario Richard surpasses 3,000 total rushing yards for his Sun Devil career, something that I believe only 5 other Sun Devils have been able to do in their tenure here at Arizona State. But this is now an interesting ordeal. 7-5 on the season. That's the Arizona State record. Is Todd Graham's job secure? Do you think you're going to see him in the next year?
If I were in charge, absolutely. Yeah. If I were in charge, it would have been before this game. But there are reports that came out before the game, we can't ignore it, there were reports that no matter what happened today, that he was going to be gone. Both N'Keal Harry, Manny Wilkins, and Demario Richard all said after the game that if they were in charge, they wouldn't let him go. They've all made their statements. But if it were me, Todd Graham would be back for 2018.
Well, Todd Graham helps the Sun Devils claim the Territorial Cup and also second in the Pac-12 South. So it was a pretty decent year after losing their last 6 in 2016. But that's going to do it for us here at Sun Devil Stadium for the last time of the 2017 season. He's Matthew Tonis. He's Omar Soussi. I'm Troy Lynch. Tuning out of HouseOfSparky.com, Arizona State. We don't know where they're going to be with their bowl game, but we'll be sure to have more coverage. So check it out on HouseOfSparky.com. Thanks so much for watching.